My name is Bennyhinn Walubengo. I'm a 19-year-old author, public speaker, and a leader, a corporate trainer with a dream to become president. I am a millennial on the move. Every morning I have to do a 1-hour training in terms of public speaking. I have like 5 voices. Maybe I can just do an example, a practical one. I have a voice that I speak in a conversation like, hey, niaje bro, mambo. I have a voice that I use when I want to intuit a conversation, when I want to provoke my audience. I'll use this voice. Good morning, guys. How are you? Do you know that you're great? Do you know that God loves you? I use a different voice and a tonal variation. I gain different wisdoms. I read different books. P.L.O. Lumumba told me that if you want to become a great orator in our generation, you must do 3 things: read, read, and read. So I read every day and I perfect my skills. I also try and make my voice as powerful as it can be.
Without any degree, without any PhD. And the first day I walked in to give a speech to people of circles, men who have millions of money. And when I stood there, my boss told me, don't tell them your age first, just tell them the content. So I stood there and told them, you know what? My name is Bennyhin Walubengo. When I stood and addressed the president, I opened with this statement, and I saw all of them raise their heads. And after giving a speech for 20 minutes, I could see them write. Then after that, they said, young man, we can even give you a job. Do you have a passport and an ID? I told them I don't have an ID. That's when they knew that my age.
As a young man, I grew up reading books. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, John C. Maxwell. These are books that influenced my world and the spectrum of thought. And therefore, leadership was something that was in me. I was very outspoken and very vocal in terms of articulating issues, even in school. So when I go to different schools, sometimes I will see challenges, maybe write an article, or sometimes I will voice out and say, these are problems that you have as students. And I will take advantage of these student barazas and address these matters. And that ended up bringing me problems in high school. Sometimes I was branded as an inciter, suspended in different schools, expelled for different reasons. And sometimes I'll just be caught in small mistakes, and because they know this guy is vocal, they will take advantage and say, now this is the time to expel this guy. So I ended up being branded, victimized in different ways, and it was a problem at some point until now I met a mentor, and the mentor told me, you know what, you're very vocal, you're very influential, you have a voice, but right now you have to direct that voice towards a cause. And now that ended up helping me now becoming a student who is good in both ways. Yes, I'm vocal, but I also know how to articulate issues when I go to the office, in terms of writing, in terms of thoughts. And now that's how I ended up finishing high school in the good way. But it was very interesting. I met different people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and it also even helped me to become a better person, a better debater. And even through learning in 7 high schools, I ended up getting so many medals in different regions as the best male debater, because I will join a school, join a debate club, go at the great debaters context. So I have so many medals from different regions, apart from Northeastern and Coast. One of the breaking moments for me in life was seeing my mom cry because of these many things that were happening. Because for us, you know, for me, I wasn't understanding who I was. I was in a world where I'm very vocal, and for her, she was not understanding, why is my child like this? And you see, going around with my dad in different schools, my dad is there carrying a box, begging school principals to take me. It was a moment of breakage, you know, and at some point I even asked God, just remove this gift of speech. I no longer need this gift. But my parents kept on believing in me. My mom could pray, my father would pray, and they kept on believing in me, taking me in a different school, and they would tell me, now when you go to this school, we want you to relax, we don't want you to give any speeches. But I would go in a school and find myself speaking. I couldn't control it. But for them, they kept on holding my hand. They kept on praying for me. And 3 months ago, when we were launching my book, I saw them opening their hearts and saying, you know, right now it's when we are starting to understand who our son was. So for me, it was a moment that had so many breakings, but it was a moment for me to learn and see that God knew that these are the right parents of this boy. These are the parents who have this patience to accommodate this young man. So to my parents also, this is a great time to tell you thank you. Even as young people, sometimes God will give you parents because He understands that your destiny needs those parents to hold your hand. If your child is meant for greatness, there are things that you'll have to expect. Expect opinions from the society, expect opinions from teachers, expect opinions from the people around your child. So to whom much is given, much is expected. It reached a time that my father and mother had to dedicate me to many parents as mentors. Now, getting many mentors, that means I'm a cocktail of many people. Allow people also to mentor your children. Allow people to give them direction. You don't know everything about your child. So understanding that your child is so complicated also helps you to release your child to the world, so that people can also be able to crop them and also give your child a space to grow.
I've been born from an African mother, born with an African blood, in an African setting. I've existed to learn the African values, and from this I've been inspired to raise the African narrative.
My life after high school now has begun. I can say now has begun. It is becoming more interesting every day. Remember in Form 3, when I met Pastor T, I started now approaching different mentors. I remember working in different offices and asking for opportunities even to become a cleaner, so that I can see how files are arranged, so that I can see how CEOs get into meetings, so that I can see how people are supposed to present themselves. So after high school, now I was entering in a stage of manifestation. So I launched this book called Sprout. I started now gaining more experience in terms of what I am doing. Now I had all the time to perfect my speaking skills. So life after high school has been more interesting. I've met now more people, gaining the media exposure, getting into different spectrums that challenge me to become bigger and better. One of my mantras is that I'm just a man, living one day at a time. So as I live one day at a time, what am I doing? I'm learning every day. As a speaker, I have to write speeches every day in my head. For me, I believe in public speaking. I never read a speech. For me, I speak, whether it's 3 hours, 5 hours, I'll speak from my head. It's something I've trained myself from my subconscious mind. So the fact that I've been reading so many books, it's something that has empowered me to write. But when it got so urgent that I need to write this book, Sprout, The Journey of a Dreamer, Sprout addresses the 5 things in life. There are 5 things that any young person cannot choose. You can never choose your parents, you can never choose your background, you can never choose your tribe, you can never choose your nationality, and you can never choose your skin color. But there are 5 things you can choose in life. You can choose your career, you can choose your marriage partner, you can choose your lifestyle, you can choose your friends, you can choose your religion. These 5 things are a solution of these other 5 things. So as a young person, underlining these thoughts in life, I saw that this is the right time to write this book because it's a need in my generation. So I always knew I would write, but the fact that I've also been influenced by other writings, other great authors, reading John C. Maxwell, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Chinua Achebe, Chimamanda, all these great people who have written great books, it's something that has influenced my thoughts to be a great writer. Well, I had the thoughts underlined. Imagine I had already typed the book, and the books were already even in my laptop. But then the funny thing, the day that I was supposed to meet my publisher the next day and give him the writing, my laptop was stolen. So I had to sit down again and write the book within 5 days because I had the thoughts and I really wanted it. And then funny enough, I had already planned the book launch. I had already hired an MC, a DJ, everything was set. So I couldn't change the date. So I had again to sit down and write the book within 5 days because I had the thoughts in my head. And best of all, I had the conviction. But before that, it had already taken like 1 year. I had the preempted thought. I knew that this is what I want to write, this is what I'll address. When I was launching Sprout, I worked in 14 different hotels, just requesting them for a venue. Telling them, you know what, I'm a 19-year-old young man, I don't have money, but I want to launch this book, so I'm looking for a venue. I have saved up some cash, I can be able to buy snacks so that you can launch this book. I knocked doors in this country. I approached different people, inviting them for the event. Even some people turned me off the last week. But I'm telling you, during that period, I learned so many things. And then during the book launch event, all of a sudden, 380 people attended the event. So to me, it was a big success just on the day of the launch. And I'm telling you, by God's grace, on the day of the launch alone, I was able to make 180,000 from the book sales. My county government, Bungoma, supported me. The governor sent the first lady to represent her, and it was well represented. The event was a big success. Within 3 weeks, I've been able to sell 500 copies of the book. So the book was a success, and I'm seeing even the book is growing in bigger spectrums. I'll be releasing the 2nd edition of the book, which has been edited, and it will be having a foreword, an acknowledgement. I'm also working on a 2nd book called Maximizing Opportunities. So the book is getting bigger and better, the brand is getting bigger. We also have merchandise, the Sprout hoodies, the t-shirts, doing bigger things and mentoring other young people through now the Sprout Foundation. I'm also mentoring other first-time publishers to to do bigger things for our generation. So yeah, the reception was great, and I'm thanking God for it. My book can be ordered. I can maybe give a public number of my foundation. You can order a copy of my book through 0775 976 643. 0775 976 643. It shall be delivered on time. You can also find me on social media, all platforms, Bennyhinn or Lubengo, on Facebook and Instagram. On YouTube, to subscribe to my channel, it is at Voice of Benny Bengo. Voice of Benny Bengo. You'll find there great content every week. I'm uploading something just for my generation to grow.
People love results. People love a man who is winning. People love the segment of success. But when you're in your moments, the moments where nobody knows you, nobody's celebrating you, you're an unsung hero, nobody's joining you, it is painful through that process. But always remember that when an egg breaks from inside, life begins. When an egg breaks from outside, life dies.
My dream is to become the Kenyan president, because I believe that we can all change the world if everybody swept the doorstep of their houses. For me, the best way I can sweep the doorstep is by becoming president and changing a few things in terms of how we think as a society and how we perceive leadership as a generation. I know I will become the president one day. It's something I believe in. It's something that God put in me one day in Mount Elgon. Well, I'll tell you that story immediately after this commercial break. Let's take this break. As you come back, I'll tell you the story.
The great days of a man are 2 days. The day you are born and the day you discover why you are born. When you discover those 2 days, you can engage with heavens. So when I met this guy, I told him I want to become president. 1, 2, what do you have to do with my vision? You have money, I have a dream. This dream needs money. So I told him what needs to be done.
I can just first start by the confirmation that God gave me, young man, you'll become a president. You know, I learned in a school in Mount Elgon. It's called ICFM Dreamland. Then there's a teacher called Mr. Munika. One day he calls me. I never had a very good handwriting. I was always punished because of handwriting issues. I remember one day even there was a joke in class that I have the worst handwriting in the country. And many people used to laugh at that joke, you know. So one day we are called, punished because of the handwriting issue. Then the teacher calls me back and tells me, last week there's a question you answered about a dam. I want you to go to the Kenya Music Festival and give a speech. And I've never been in before any audience giving a speech. Yes, I know I can speak. I do make noise in class and all that. So I tried public speaking for the first time. Kenya Music Festival 2013. I was in class 7 by that time. Then I went to this music festival, and the first time I spoke up to the national levels. The first time. And I remember the first speech I was given at the sub-county levels was, if I become the president of Kenya. I gave that speech in a passionate way. And immediately after giving that speech, I became the first position. The second speech I was given at the county levels is if I become the governor. I gave that speech again, I became position 1. The third speech I was given is if I become the Minister of Education. Wow. The third one now, the fourth one I was given at the nationals, if I become the president of Kenya. So it was the second time I was being given this speech. So I went back to school and asked myself, young man, are you a president? Is there a president in you? Now the conviction to become president, the dream, it was a confirmation enough. I never needed any other confirmation. God wanted me to become a president. That is what I was born for. But above that, there is a bigger thing even than being a president. I want to become an effective leader. Being president is just part of my goals, because if I become a member of parliament or a senator, there are things that can only be brought when I'm at the top. So I'll follow the process, but becoming a president will help me ensure that the ideas in my head, I can be able to actualize them if the people ahead of me will not have actualized them. So it's a dream that I'm following. It's a dream that I'm focused on. I'm building capacity for that. In fact, one of my dreams this year is to meet the President of Kenya, and I want to meet him so that he can learn from his mistakes, and he can also just teach me a few things. Well, some of the mistakes I've made is when I began this journey, I never really understood what I'm supposed to be tied on. I was doing so many things and I was all over. Being busy is not really being productive. You can be very busy but you're not productive. So some of the mistakes I made is that I was doing so many things, had so many titles, you know, doing this. So I was all over and I was not very effective. until I had to tie myself to one thing, public speaking, and that's where now mentors come in. My mentors told me, you know what, you have to choose one thing. So for me, I'm perfecting every day to become a global public speaker. I'll be realistic as a young person. There are many challenges, many temptations, you know. You also want to enjoy yourself. You also want to be great at the same time. So for me, it was a challenge, especially the fact that I also come from the slums where there are different things like crime, there are different things like drugs, you know, sexual immorality, all these things are there. And so with all these challenges, I had to understand, and it had to get deep in my head, that when your dream is too big, some things are too small. One day nilikuwa nimeenda bash, na tukiwa huko bash tukipiga sherehe, ilikuwa road trip. I saw someone send me a message. How are you, Mr. President? I hope you're well. I've just watched your video, and you know one day you'll become a president. And I had all the girls around me, tuko hapo tunajibamba, but immediately I saw the message, how are you, Mr. President? That message was enough to remind me who I was. I told them, you know what, guys, let me excuse myself. There's something I have to do. And that is the last time I held a bottle of alcohol, because I understood that my dream is too big. I went back home and I really cried and told myself, you know what, you've been wasting yourself. I had to sacrifice 5 things in life. Number 1, I had to sacrifice time. Number 2, I had to sacrifice friends. I had to leave friends, you know, because these friends were not adding value. Then number 3, I also had to sacrifice the good things of life. As a young person, kuna pleasures of life zenye zinabamba. You know, kwenda bash, kuwa na memorial, you know, all these things. I had to sacrifice many things because I understood that this dream is bigger. I also had to sacrifice myself to the ministry. I had to always be in church. I always had to put myself in a place where I am growing, I'm not dying. And the last thing that I also had to sacrifice, that I have always said in my speeches, is a relationship. I had to leave my girlfriend at some point and tell her, you know what, yes, I love you, you are very beautiful, God loves you, I love the fact that we've met, but you know what, there is a dream that I have. And being in a relationship, I have to give you attention, I have to give you energy and all these things. But for now, it is not relevant. So let me focus on the dream, we can be friends. Young people go wrong by the fact that they don't realign themselves to friends who add value. I can say that because you have 3 types of friends in life, you know. You have independent friends, you have dependent friends, and you have interdependent friends. Independent friends are those friends who don't care. These are friends who will tell you, you can drink, you can do anything, I don't have any problem with you, as long as we are friends. They won't advise you, they won't tell you anything. Then you have dependent friends. These are friends who suck energy from you. These are friends who are there to use you. These are friends who are going to make sure that you're destroyed. These are friends who are there to make sure that you're wasted. They can't add any value. These are dependent friends. They only suck energy from you. They suck your abilities, they suck your capabilities, they suck your time. They just keep on taking and taking and taking and taking from you. And these are friends who will at some point take you even to depression, because you'll reach in a place in life where they're not adding any value. Then you have interdependent friends. These are friends who will come in life in a season where you've found value yourself. You can't find friends who add value if you yourself you don't have value. Young people go wrong by the fact that they don't get friends who are adding value. That's just what I think basically. But the moment you have friends who are adding value, and the best friend number 1 is Jesus. When you find the best friend who is Jesus, who can add value, having a supernatural force that rules over your life. Because as a young person, I'll tell you something, that you can have all the degree, you can have all the abilities, but there's a place where favor can locate a man. I've been able to do a number of things by the fact that I have friends who add value, friends who can recommend me in a room full of opportunities, friends who psych me up every day.
When you're thrown in the pit, you're lonely. But when you're thrown in the pit, you come out there with lessons. You become a lion.
My biggest lesson in life is that people need you. So you can't afford to give up. The moment you'll understand who you are and the burden that you carry, is that it will keep you going. In the next 5 years, I see myself as an African global speaker, because the way I'm shaping myself and the way I'm aligning myself, in the next 5 years, I'm hoping that my brand will have taken off, I want to be very relevant, especially to the young people, to drive a conversation. I believe that I was born to bring two things in life. I was born for a revival and I was born for a revolution. So I was born for a revival in terms of ministry, because in me there is a minister. They say that champions are made in the gym but awarded in the ring. So right now I'm in the gym perfecting my skills. When I begin in the next 5 years, my voice will be heard. Currently I'm trying to learn violin. I also take a walk around Karura. I go with my friends. I love chicken. Go take some pizza. I also do workout a lot. I love movies. I love eating chocolate. I'm still young also, so at some point I also take some easy time, do different things as a young person to allow myself to be young, you know. My take on the Kenyan political sphere is that I was told that to become a president in Kenya you need 4 things. You need money, you need the hearts of the people, you need access to violence, and you need a philosophy. And that is what our politicians have perfected. They have perfected the art of rule and divide. Currently there is a conversation going on about the hustler narrative. There is also another conversation going on. Like every politician is basing his power on rule and divide. So I think it's time we also change our Kenyan politics, and we as the young generation who are coming, we need to have a different conversation, because for us we don't have a tribalistic mindset. For us we are reasoning based on values and character. So I think as a generation, the generation that is coming, my generation and the younger generation ahead, the people between the age of 25 to 35, it is our mandate to take responsibility that our politics in our time shall not be tribal.